In studio right now, we have three candidates vying for two seats, Utica School Board. There's a newcomer involved. Her name is Briana Moriarty. Good morning. I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
And also Lou LaPolla. Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Bill.
And Chris Salatino,
Good morning, Bill.
The current president of the school board. And let's start with Lou. Why should people reelect you as a school board member in Utica?
Well, Bill, I have been on the Board of Education for a number of years, and as a former educator, I pride myself to say that I'm the only educator left on the Board of Education. But I have the experience to do the job through my years as mayor, councilman, head of the MHA. I think I have the experience. I have the dedication and commitment. I'm not in this job for the money because there's no pay.
Right.
I do it because I want to. I care about the city. I think the only way we're going to attract young families to this community is to have a great school system. And as you know, the school system is the backbone of the community. Without young people and young families, the population in Utica will continue to decrease. So basically, as a former educator, once an educator, always an educator.
Yeah.
I have the experience and knowledge, the dedication and commitment. I seek no other higher office. Some people start in the Board of Education and seek a higher office.
Yeah.
I'm here because I care about the community and I have a passion and I enjoy what I do.
Briana, if you would, nice and tight on the microphone there,
Okay.
and tell us about you and why you feel people should vote for you on Tuesday.
I would like people to vote for me on Tuesday because I bring fresh voice and fresh insights into the district operations. I'm a younger person in the area that's building her life here. I'm a product of the Utica district, and I want to give back to the district that gave me so much. I believe that we need to open up communication between the board and community members and the teachers as well as the parents. And I'm just looking to, affect some change. And while the district is heading in the right direction, we still have younger families that are leaving the area before their kids enter kindergarten or before they get into the high school. And, I can't fathom that. And that's because, I did all of my schooling in the Utica district. I'm doing very well for myself. So, I'm just looking to kind of put a positive spin on things and really get some work done. I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and, ask the tough questions as well as get some answers and solutions.
Right. And Chris Salatino.
Well, first off, Bill, good morning, and thanks for having us.
I'm glad you guys made it in.
It's so important for people to really get involved in the school district and the voting process, and we don't see enough of that in Utica. So I thank you for having us, and I know we've done this years ago, but it's good to be here. Why should people vote for me, or why should I continue to be on the school board? Over the past 10 years, and I originally had gotten started in the district because of a couple things. I was on some committees and we started to see the construction project, and I looked at the projects that had failed over the years before we had gotten there or even before Mr. LaPolla was there. And I wanted to see that we had an opportunity to, which was the $186 million capital project, to capitalize on that money because the state had no intention of giving it. And, my goal at that point was twofold. One was to oversee the capital project, which I'm glad to say we continued that, and it's coming on time and under budget. The other was one of my children was having an issue and needed some assistance, and we just couldn't see, we couldn't get anybody to listen to us. And I wanted to be an advocate for students with in the special education or needed some assistance in making them a better student.
Yeah.
And, subsequently he went on to school with a college and graduated with a 3.8. And I mean, the system works, but you need someone to advocate at times. You need someone to look at those things. So that was the initial reason why. And then I thought, well, geez, as a business owner, this should be easy. We'll make changes. We'll start to see how finances change in the district, and I'm going to make sure that we do all of these things. Well, it's also very, very difficult because if anybody works in government, you know that it's not that easy. But you can use to learn the system to work for us, and which is what we had, and which is what we've done. And we've put initiatives together from, like I said, the capital project to making sure that our schools have gotten, our graduation rates have changed, to lobbying for money in Albany, which I've done. We've put initiatives together for safety, and Mr. LaPolla and I, when we got there originally, we had no committee system. And when I was elected as president and he vice president, and he's been a wonderful resource for me. He's been in government for many years. We worked together. We started this committee system in the safety and security. We would have 300 or 400 safety violations in our buildings a month. Lou, I think we're down to zero. Every month. That's almost impossible with pre-World War II buildings, 10 of them, enormous buildings, aged out. But we did something. We upgraded each one. We made a good, proper learning environment for our schools. We allowed. We worried about safety and security in our buildings. We are very safe. We have a very great learning environment for our students. Those are the types of things that we've done, and that's why we should continue the course of where we're headed, because we're only getting better. We've watched our graduation rates increase considerably. We've watched most of our schools actually are now successful, according to the state's requirements. So, but there's a lot more work to do, and that's why I'm running again.
All right, I want to start the next question with Briana Moriarty. And this is the first time you've run for anything, but you know the district. You went through the district, and my question would be: English second language is a real problem, and state aid being cut. How do you propose, with aid being cut, yet students on the rise, and many of those being expensive students? Anybody English second language, it costs the school district more. So how do you see a solution there? Do you see a solution?
I will always come with every question with there's a solution. It may not be the ideal solution. However, I do believe there's a solution. When I was in the classroom with the English language learners, they're overpopulating our district. And I do believe that you just have to fight harder for the funding. I think that there's ways in which you can look into grant money. You can, keep knocking on doors in Albany. And while they may tell you no the first 15 times, okay, so let's go 16 or 17. Okay. I don't think that no is never an answer. And while this is my first political run, for the school board, I have no, intention of, trying to, get another, sit on a council or, run for mayor. It's just, I care about the students. I care about the teachers. And, the ESL is definitely, on the top of the list if I get elected. 40 some odd languages.
Same question for Chris Salatino.
Repeat the question again, Bill, and I just want to make sure.
We're looking at a shrinking state aid and rising students, the rising number of students in the Utica district, and many of them who are English second language.
I say all the time that this is our greatest strength is the refugees and the folks that have come here and created such great diversity. But with it comes a considerable dollar value, and we know that. I had the opportunity to go before the governor's unfunded mandate a couple years ago. Unfunded mandates are what hurts us in these particular instances because it's a twofold issue. The federal government laws allow allow refugees and people from other countries to come in here, but they don't pay for the price tag. Unfunded mandates require us to provide special services for these students. Okay, and when I say unfunded mandates, it means that if we have to have, for instance, translators and additional teachers and things like that, it's a real issue and it's a real cost for us. So unfortunately, we don't have the funding that comes with it because they mandate that you provide it, but you don't. Title I funds, which we get from federal government, and that's one of the biggest problems. And I talked to Congresswoman Kenny a while back on that, and she is in agreement that, the federal government has to step up a little bit more than the state. And unfortunately, the way when they changed from foundation aid to gap elimination, as you know, that hurt districts like us, which were growing districts, very poor districts. We fell out of the funding process, and the rich and the more, and I would say the richer districts or the more prominent districts were able to get the funds. But this year we fought back and we fought hard. And I went to Albany on several occasions, and we ended up getting an additional $5 million. Pales in comparison. But we had the lawsuit as well, which we are actually appealing now because we didn't end up getting it. But we're talking $60 million in funding. That's the money that should go to do this. So we didn't make a step in the right direction. I will continue to lobby in Albany as I did. It worked this year, and of course we're going to move forward. And as Mr. LaPolla will tell you, he was pushing for us to go ahead and appeal that decision. And as far as the funding goes, like I said, that's a $60 million lawsuit. That would pretty much solve most of our problems.
Right. Mr. LaPolla.
And I agree with Chris. I think it's important to lobby the state. The state owes the Utica City School District over $50 million, and he has been a great advocate for lobbying for additional state aid. But you know what I'm concerned about? I'm concerned about student achievement for all students in a classroom. English as a second language, yeah, it presents a problem, but we have an obligation to those people also. That's why I'm constantly harping on reducing class size. 24, 26 children in a classroom in a first grade or second grade is unacceptable. And the only way we're going to resolve that is to get the money, receive the money that's due to the school district. Then we can hire more teachers. And Chris knows the board feels as though whenever we have extra money, what's the number one goal? Lowering class size. So we can give that student an opportunity, and we can show those people who need English as a second language that we're not abandoning their cause. Because, look, this is a community. This is a community comprised of different groups of people.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we're going to survive is if we're in this together and go after the money that's due to the district.
We have Lou LaPolla, Chris Salatino, and Briana Moriarty, each vying for 2 seats on Utica's school board. Anybody want to follow up on
Can I
this?
redirect for a moment, Bill? You know, I wanted to just and mention what we've done under the circumstances we have, even with these classrooms. And I said this the other day on another forum. You look at last year, we had our graduates came in. I believe 9 out of 10 of them were refugees. Okay, all women, all in the top 10 of our class. That says something about the teachers and that we're doing something right. We've done more with less for so long that we've gotten good at it. We've given the training, our teachers. And you've heard me say this before. I'll put our teachers against anybody in any district because you know what? They are talented, they are caring, and they are concerned for the well-being of our students. And they're great teachers. And we will continue to support them as we have over the years. Unfortunately, everything comes down to a money issue, and that was one of the arguments I had with the financial chief in Albany. You know, he said money doesn't change education. It does. And we proved it with the Martin Luther King situation where King was on a receivership. They were ready to make that a charter school. Right. We turned it around because they gave us the money to do it. And unfortunately, money does equate into education because it gives us the staff and the support staff and the people to do what we need to do.
Brianna, you want to follow up on any of that?
You know, I understand that money can be an issue, but we also need to talk to the teachers. So while I'm sure that, you know, communication has been open with the teachers, I've been actively talking with the Utica Teachers Association, who's endorsed my campaign, and you know I'm getting a very different conversation with them. It's no one's talking to us. You know, we can affect change in the classroom, but nobody wants to talk to us. So I'm here to also stand on that and say, you know, these teachers are on the foreground of, you know, they're in the classroom with these students. So let's go to them and say, okay, how is the best way to do this on top of going to get the funding that we need from Albany?
Are you saying that these 2 school board members are not speaking with the teachers?
In the conversations that I'm having, yes.
Okay. Bill, let's just put the elephant on the table with this nonsense with the union, because I wouldn't accept their support last time, and I wouldn't attend their support this time. I've been supported by every other union, including the SEIU and the administrators union. The leadership at the union level wants to see this board change for their own purposes. I personally will not be involved with an organization that wants to influence negotiations. Let's look at what we've done for the teachers over the last few years, I mean, on a financial basis, because given Triborough, they're automatically given a certain level of increase and raise, and we give them money on top of that every year. So it's not a financial aid with the teachers. This is not, I mean, if you came to any of my fundraiser, it was predominantly teachers that were in the district. I have their full support. This is union management trying to influence a board for whatever personal or whatever gains and reasons they want to. And you got an email that said it's time for us to remove this board, and that came from the union leadership. And when we talked to teachers about it, they had no idea that it was even out there. So to be honest with you, lines of communication are open. We have staff that works with with the teachers themselves. There's a line of open communication with them, and it's shown by what we've given our teachers and the student success that we have. So I don't buy the whole union thing, and I'm not going to go down that road tonight.
I am almost out of time, but I'll carry this over on the other side, just on this final issue of the teachers, and we'll give each of you a chance to respond on this issue one more time. All right, so sit tight. We'll come right back here. It is a debate between the three members that are vying for 2 seats on the school board in Utica. The issue of teachers has come up, and it seems to be a little on the heated side, and we're going to go down that road when we come back at WIBX.